Hello, lovely ladies. Hope you are having an amazing day, amazing week. It's been a while since I've hopped on here to do a training for you lovely ladies, mostly because I've been making sure and sharing lots of other different little things and just helping you out in other ways, however I can best serve and support you. And remembering that we all build businesses in different ways and in different fashions, and there's no one way that is the right way. It is what works best for us, right? What works best in using our uniqueness, our God-given talents, right? So whether it is we do something 100%, or whether we build a business with multiple different side burners going on, right? Whether or not we have a coaching practice that is 100% just a particular way of doing a coaching practice, or whether or not we have, again, multiple different things. So one of the things I did last week was I participated with my business coach in a 4-day event for about an hour and a half each day. And it was a training that was given by through John Maxwell, right? And so he is an amazing leadership author and coach, and has his whole John Maxwell leadership coaching business, right? Super powerful. So I wanted to share with you the nuggets that I took away from the 4 days. So I'm going to be reading off to you all of my amazing notes, because they are amazing notes, because I want you to glean from it. And the big theme of the 4 days was understanding that a leader, true leaders, great leaders, rise in the occasion of crisis. And that's what his whole 4 days was about, of how can we continue to grow and build ourselves as leaders, of being great leaders. And so many people think that leaders are just for the CEOs of a business, or a leader of a country, or a leader of a platoon, right? Platoon, battalion, something, military. I know, I should know. I was military. But anyways, but a leader is our God-given right and responsibility, whether we are leading our households in making sure that things are functioning properly day to day, especially right now with the quarantine, with all this crisis, whether or not it is that we are leading our businesses into a totally new frontier, whether it's not it's leading our clients, our customers into peacefulness, whether it is, and having that assurance, right? Whether it is leading in a way of being brand new in a business, so many different ways to leading our friends, our family, our businesses, our church relationships, any relationship, communication, right? So how do we show up to lead others? So on the first day, John Maxwell talked about defining a crisis. It's all going to be about the point of view and the perspective. All right, we need to keep information at and in the groups, to be committed to be there full time, right? And so he talks about how crisis is common and the perspective is critical. How to be a leader through crisis. It is always people first. So for example, with the virus, it is knowing that teaching them tools and how to be safe. It's all about the people. And educating yourself what is going on in the world, so that you can then relate that information, to be able to be flexible and adaptable, to leverage your team, whether, again, it's your family that is your team, your social media platform that is your team, your clients, your customers, however your team looks. Who is it that you need to lead to be able to leverage your team? How do you communicate judiciously, with good judgment, less talking, more thinking, being wise about what you share and communicate, right? To be authentic and to be able to manage yourself. A good leader, people want to see them being calm and showing up, right? How many governors waited and waited to be able to share information, and the people were like, where's my governor? Why is he not talking to me? Or where is, this person or that person? And they might have thought that they were being wise in gathering more and more information, but sometimes sharing the information that you do have in the moment, but by showing up to your people, lets them know that, all right, this is what she does know right now, or he does know right now, and she's going to continue to keep me updated and help me find peace and hope through all of this, right? Sometimes it takes people time to speak, right? When we think it's okay, it's okay to pause, right? So what that means with leadership is that I don't always have all the answers. You don't always have all the answers. That's okay. Or when we're asking a question to somebody, it's okay to have a really long pause as they process something, right? John Maxwell talks about defining reality. How much should I share? Start by making phone calls, just reaching out, asking people, how are you feeling? How are you doing? How can I best serve and support you right now? The biggest takeaway I got from that session was to help moments become movement, meaning don't sit for too long. It's an opportunity for you to be able to move your business forward, to move your clients or your customers into a peaceful mindset. Managing ourselves to be authentic. Delegating actually empowers people. And then perspective is how do we view things, is how we do things, right? Crisis is an opportunity. Then in session 2, it was all about managing distractions through crisis. This is super powerful. I'm gonna take a drink of water. So crisis can be a distraction, right? It can confuse our priorities. Whereas traction is the opposite. It helps us pull towards our priorities. It helps us stay on task. So as a true leader, we have no agenda, no manipulation. We are lifting people up, we are serving people, and we are adding value, right? What can be the number one distraction during crisis? Actually, there's several that John Maxwell talks about. It's the mind wander, all right? News, fear is spreading faster than the virus itself, right? We can't control things that we can't control, though. And so what we can control is our anxiety and worry, because they're not going to make things better, right? Leaders help people get traction during distraction. And he talks about a quote from C.S. Lewis of, do not let us exaggerate or exasperate. And he's talking about the atom bomb in 1948. And John Maxwell felt it was really relevant to our crisis in the fact of the verbiage and stuff is, let the bomb find us doing service, need not dominate our minds. So the same thing. We don't need to have fear with the virus, or fear that someone is going to think that we are salesy, or fear that, what am I going to look like trying to build my business in a totally different way right now, or this is not the time to launch a new part of my business. Or we don't need fear to dominate us, all right? Because right now is a beautiful opportunity for each and every one of us, each and every one of you, to serve your people. So the 3 distractions that he talks about is mind wandering, the what ifs, the negative thinking, for example, the news, and uncertain anxiety, the fear of the unknown, right? So what he asked of us is, which is really our trap? Which of those 3 is the one that is your Achilles heel, basically? Is it mind wandering, the want versus needing to focus? Are we staying with our routine? That can be helpful to keep ourselves from the mind wandering, the negative thinking, the uncertain anxiety, right? Our experience of a leader, let's see. Oh, have we experienced a leader in the past getting distracted during a situation like this? All right, so that's something that might also create a distraction within us. Another thing that can help with the mind wandering and the negative thinking is having an accountability partner or accountability calls. People that, you stay in touch with to help you stay focused. And give yourself grace. Have a theme for the day. That can be super helpful. All right, so then session 3 was about leading through, as we continued with leading through crisis, it was character in crisis. Really loved this. Crisis really reveals our character. Crisis reveals us. Whatever is in the inside will come out, positive or negative. We have a choice. We can't moan and lead at the same time. I loved that. He gave a quote from a book called Love Leadership, John Hop Bryant, and I'll share that. I'll find a link to that book. But summarizing what the quote was that he was paraphrasing from the book was, most people find strength from the outside of them, but a great leader finds strength from the inside. They're able to tap into what is their integrity, what are their morals, what is it that drives them to serve and support their people. And our best life is through our scars. Because of the history of loss, it grounds and matures us. There's no inner growth without loss. Loss is wisdom acquired early. Wisdom is dealing with your mess. This doesn't define. Transformation is impossible without forgiving. It happens from the inside, bigger on the inside. So here he talks about crisis is distracting. Crisis is common. Crisis is inside of us. And crisis is adaptability. How do those things mold our character? The distraction, the commonness inside of us, and adaptability. So he talks about how all coaches have a good pregame plan, meaning you plan things, whether you are a wellness coach, whether you are an advocate, whether you have an online business, whether you coach like I coach, whether you do whatever it is that you do that brings out the best version of yourself to serve and support others, is to have a great pre-game plan. And this pre-game plan might be something that you have, spun in your head for years and years. An example is in our household, I have a pre-game plan of if an intruder entered my home, what I would do, what would be my plan of action for each room. Now that might sound really morbid, but being married to a law enforcement officer, it has been something that we have drilled and talked about and theorized from day one for years. And it has served me even in business. It has served me in life circumstances, in the fact that when I'm constantly pre-gaming things, I'm able to show up and serve. I'm able to have that muscle memory. It doesn't mean that I stew or ruminate or spin anything negative. It's being able to know how to plan ahead to be able to be the leader that I'm called to be. Great coaches separate at halftime. They adjust. So what this means is at halftime, they see what's been going on and then what needs to be adjusted now that they know what has been happening. They have a plan B. They have a plan C. That's what a successful coach, a successful leader, a successful entrepreneur does, right? But particularly a leader. Again, remember, a leader is all of us. We all have a leader within us. And the question is, are we going to be a successful, great leader, or are we going to be a boss? Because we don't want to be a boss, right? We don't want to be a manager. We want to be a leader because we are all called and designed to be a leader. He talks about conformity. Negative, blending in, weakness, abandon, fear, don't want to be. My handwriting got kind of crazy there for a while. Oh, so are we wanting to conform or are we wanting to be adaptable? So conforming is you might be focusing on the negative, wanting to blend in, seeing, leaning into the fear, don't want to be rejected, things like that. Whereas adaptable is you'll adjust to succeed, adjust your way to victory. You'll be flexible, fluid. So it was interesting because during our discussion, we talked about questions, and I thought it was quite appropriate. We talked about diamonds. Diamonds are only able to be created because of the pressure, right? So one of the things that we can do each day is say, God, here I am. Use me. Be available to how God wants you to show up to lead your people, your family, your friends, your business, your clients, your customers, right? Why is crisis? Oh, why does crisis knock us off our feet? So understanding effective pressure can make you up your game, your A game, right? We have the opportunity to seek others for help, to learn more, all that stuff. It doesn't have to knock us off of our feet, right? A leader or crisis brings out a leader. It helps us see what is our basic instinct. Is it fight or flight? Is it freeze? What is it that is going to help us turn this into a victory? Let's see. It also gives you the chance to be able to reevaluate what is your personality, what is your communication style, so that you can understand how better to be able to communicate to others. And then one of the other things that we talked about was adopt versus adapt. What to make sure we are doing to adopt, want to make sure that we are doing the right thing. So again, it goes back to, are we adopting and adapting, or are we conforming? We went a little bit over the DISC personality methodology. How can we lean into our strengths for our team? When we understand human nature, we are able to better serve. We can be authentic and still get work done. The right path. So again, the right path is another type of assessment. It's similar to the DISC. So if you ever do the DISC personality, it's basically similar to the Strength Finders, but what I like about DISC personality is that it really helps you hone in on your communication styles and how to be able to recognize different communication styles in others. The biggest takeaway from that session I got was that loss is wisdom acquired early, which is super cool if you think about it. Through every crisis, you have the opportunity to be able to grow in your wisdom. The final session of Leading Through Crisis was Real Leadership Through Crisis. So here, John Maxwell talks about leaders need to be a visible presence during time of crisis. Crisis is when real leaders show up. And he gave an example of the Israeli military. I really liked this example. He said the officers go first into battle. Soldiers should always see their mentality, their thought process is that soldiers should always see the officer's back. that the officers go first into battle. And I want to give an example of, so when I was in the military, one of the things that was taught as a leader and with our chain of command is understanding that we, one, never, ever, ever gripe down the chain of command. If we have a complaint or a concern, we always take it up our chain of command. So I would take it to my company commander to be able to say, I'm having an issue with this coworker, with this this person that I'm on shift with. How can I best approach it? Now, I talk to that person first, and if I'm not able to get to a place where we're both in agreement of stuff, I then would have to take it up the chain of command. In the same note also is that as we build businesses, as we lead and serve others, of understanding that when we are going down the chain of command, is our objective to serve and support the people under us, or is our objective to serve and support ourselves? Is it for our own goals? Is it for our own desires to move our business? And if that is the case, then it is wrong for us to go down our chain of command. We need to go up our chain of command for additional support, for additional guidance, additional training, additional just verbally processing things, right? It is our responsibility as leaders with our customers and clients. It is our responsibility to make sure that we are creating peace, security, helping them feel safe in the environment of the circumstances. It is also, if we're building a team, if we have a team, it is our responsibility as leaders to not tell our team members what they should or shouldn't be doing. It is our job to be able to ask them, how can I best support you with your business right here, right now? How can I best serve you? What training can I help you with? Things like that, all right? And within our family, how best, talking to my daughter, for example, how best can I help you accomplish your paper's goals? How best can I help you finish out this school year, rather than telling her, you need to do X, Y, X, Y, Z, or my life is going to be easier if you go ahead and do the laundry first, or take care of this and this and this and this, right? You see how that is self-serving, and it's about what my needs are versus her needs of, once you get your schoolwork done, once you take care of this, if you could also work on the chores that have been assigned to you, that's going to help the whole family to be able to then have our team gathering, our family gathering, our whatever, right? See the difference? Or is there a skill I need to help you with to be able to better work through your day's agenda type of thing? So I want you to always just continually think outside the box of what leadership looks like and what it truly means. Because again, with my coaching clients, I'm not their boss or their manager to tell them how to be writing out their food plans, or how to be using their oils in a particular way, or how to be doing the tapping. My job is to ask them, what can I best support you with? Do you need skills? Do you need education? Do you need mindset stuff? Do you need some extra this or extra that? How can I best support you? And it might mean that I give some sort of instructional stuff, but only after I've asked them if that's what they need, right? I also don't tell them, you need a tap because it's going to make my vibration better. No, it's not their responsibility to make my vibration or my space better, right? It's to help them, right? So going back, John Maxwell, sorry, I get super passionate about leadership. Can you tell? John Maxwell gave an example of Inc.com, how apparently Ed Bastian of Inc.com sent out an email during the beginning of this crisis of how they were preparing, how they were taking action, and really supporting and serving their people. And again, he reiterated that crisis is when leadership is more important. So then the secret of your success is of your daily agenda. Leaders don't always know the answer. We aren't going to follow fuzzy leadership, right? But clarity is important. We can't control the circumstances, but we can control our responses. Leaders show up with hope. He gave the example of optimism versus hope. So optimism is passive, it's positive thinking, but hope is making things better. It is taking action. Leaders can't get emotional in a crisis. We have to have our head above the crowd and in the crowd, but not of the crowd. Then he talked about PGE decision. So pains, gains, and experience. Why is almost as what you make the decision. Not quite sure what I meant by that note. So again, John Maxwell reiterated people of value people and add value to you. To have a game plan for every problem. Great leaders think things through on the front end. And he gave examples of like Lincoln, Churchill, Maloney, I think was his name, from 9/11, MLK, people like that. So what's right for the people is the role of a leader, of really evaluating what is right for the people. And the game plan, points are to game plan beforehand. That is what true leadership is. That, what resonates and why. So then we expanded on optimism, how optimism versus hope. Optimism is positive, hope is action. Showing makes things better. What is on the inside comes out during a crisis, positive or negative, right? I'm going to go back real quick to optimism and hope of, taking action. So that very first week, I right away collaborated with another practitioner for us to be able to provide 5 days of free information for a little over an hour each night to be able to really empower people on how to best boost their immune system with what they already have within their homes, right? It wasn't a matter of, yes, her and I both are very passionate about essential oils. We ironically are of different essential oils, but we have a beautiful way of being able to respect each other through our coaching services as well as our oils. And we have a way of knowing that quality is most important, but also in that time of those 5 days, it wasn't about what products we could or couldn't sell. It was about how can we empower people with their mindset, with the sun, with sleep, with all of that stuff. And then talking about the other tools that they can get, boosting their vitamin D, vitamin C, the oils, different things like that. But first and foremost, talking about their mindset, using tools like tapping, using tools of just grounding, all sorts of different things that they already had in their homes, on their body, within themselves, right? So that is, again, hope is about action. So we need to step into ourselves more so that we can handle crisis better. John Maxwell talked about 3 things: early, clarity, and hope. These 3 things are imperative for a leader. To be early, to show up early, to be able to let your presence be visible, to have clarity, and even within that clarity, even if you're not 100% sure about some stuff, letting that be known. I'm still learning and gathering information, but as soon as I have greater information to share with you, I will let you know. That's showing up early. That's being clear about your intent, and that's providing hope, right? Decisions we make as leaders need to be in alignment with our values. We need to help individuals find our core values. So then we did an exercise of looking at a value slide and just getting down to what are our core values. And so the whole point of that exercise was, if our decisions don't line up with our core values, we aren't doing the work correctly. We're not connecting with the work. And so therefore, just like with our businesses, if it doesn't line up with your core values in how you share and serve with others, then there's going to be a disconnect, and you're not going to be able to shine as the leader that you are intended to be. So the final takeaway from the whole entire thing that my business coach Tim shared was what he learned from all of us, as well as from a previous week when he had done this as well, was crisis is a time of opportunity. Most people, leaders, lead as that most leaders are all dealing with all three of the different types of distractions, right? It's never fun to face the truth. Crisis takes people to the basic fight or flight. We need to stay close to our team and to our routine. We need to identify the 3 priorities of our day and be realistic. We need to take a break from social media so that it doesn't overwhelm us with all the negativity. We need to have morning affirmations and accountability, having a team accountability call, checking in from the neck up, basically, right? Giving self-grace when distracted. Reminding ourselves that without pressure, a diamond would not be able to be made. Work always on moving from plan A to plan B to plan C and so forth, to not be stubborn, to don't let perfectionism freeze you up, and to learn more, question more, to seek explanations, and to never stop desiring to lead. It's an opportunity, right? So I hope this was helpful for you ladies. It was super powerful for me, and I knew that this video, this live, was going to be a little bit longer, but I wanted to share with you guys all the amazing nuggets, because you are amazing ladies, and no matter how you are pursuing your business, how you are leading it, as long as you are leading it the way God has called you to lead, and it may not look like anybody else's, all right? That's okay. That is absolutely and totally okay. Because you know what God has called you to do and how He has called you to serve. Whether it is doing one thing 100% of the time, or doing 5 things divided up in 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, and 60%. I think that added up to 100. Whatever it is, however it is He's calling you, when you are staying true to that, you are able to show up and shine and be the leader that you are called to be. You have a beautiful and blessed day.